It's an immediate top 10 matchup in Orlando, Florida. This coming Sunday night, 7:30. LSU and Florida State will be playing. Running back, a very tight game that both teams had last year. I'll dive into that in just a moment. Hey, if you're new here, I'm Brian Knight. I am not Bobby Durkins, at least not right here. If you're new, hit the subscribe button and turn on the notifications. That does help the channel, and it is free. As you can imagine, you know who I pull for, but I love college football. Would I rather have some top 10 matchups maybe? I don't know. Later on in the season, after both teams has maybe gotten their rhythm, maybe got their feet under them. Yes. But I'll definitely take a top 10 matchup. Now, last year, LSU, in Brian Kelly's debut, lost this game. And it was by what? 2 points, 1 point? Let me look at that. It was 24-23. Yeah, 24-23. LSU won the ball game by 1 point. Oh, no, FSU. My God, guys, forgive me. I misspoke. Somebody will come on here and go, can't you read? Yeah, FSU won the game. And that was a big deal. It really set them up for the rest of the season. But a lot of things have changed since then. The Florida State had a pretty good season. LSU ended up in the SEC championship. Unfortunately for them, they had to play the hottest team in America, the Georgia Bulldogs. And, yeah, they lost by 20 points in that game. But it's still interesting to see Brian Kelly in his first year get his team to the SEC championship. That's no small feat. They ended up beating Alabama that year. Now we fast forward. Now, remember, both these quarterbacks that are starting, there's a lot of hype around them, and rightfully so. Jordan Travis, the former Louisville transfer, a lot of people forgets he was at Louisville before he was at Florida State. He did very well last year. The guy's a dual threat guy. He can throw the ball around. He has a lot of talent. He threw for 3,200 yards last year, 24 touchdowns. And he just has the ability to pull the ball as well and make you pay for it just in case you're trying to, defend the pass. He can extend the play. On the other side of the football, you have Jaden Daniels. I keep wanting to call him Jalen, folks. That's why I had to look down at his name. I was like, if I call him Jalen, I'll never hear the end of it. Jaden Daniels, he had an incredible season, 2,900 yards, 17 touchdowns. He rushed for 885 yards, 11 touchdowns. So he's a guy who can make you pay. Now, when you think about both of these teams, you need to step back and look at the transfer portal. In fact, I feel like I need a few assistants to help me with this game. Like, you take who transferred in for this team, and you take the transfers from whoever for this team, and then y'all let me know. And, oh, by the way, just make sure there's no injuries as well. Both of these teams majorly utilize, especially Florida State, utilized the transfer portal. Now, I know that everybody has their feelings about that. You either like it or you hate it or you wish it was more governed. All right, it is what it is. But Florida State majorly benefited from the transfer portal. Let's just quickly talk about some key transfers. Justin Cryer came in. He wasn't really a big deal, but Keon Coleman, a massive pickup from Michigan State. This guy, he can go up and get the football, and he's a big dude anyway. So that's a big deal. Going on down to Jaheim Bell, transferred from the Chickens of South Carolina. I saw Jaheim Bell play when they played against Clemson this year, and I'm going to tell you, I was very impressed with his fight. He is a baller. He's one of those guys who'll get down and dirty with you. He's a really good athlete. That was a big loss for South Carolina, whether they want to admit it or not. That was a big pickup for Florida State. Jeremiah Byers coming over from UTEP. He actually was a highly rated offensive tackle in the transfer portal. Fentrell Cypress. Why would he want to leave Virginia? It's not like Virginia's not a, he's a terrible football team. This was a fantastic pickup at cornerback for them. And, when you see this, when you see these types of moves, it says that, hey, they're trying to fix problems. They're trying to be fill holes and be competitive as quickly as you possibly can. Now, on the other side of the football, LSU picked up some players. Logan Diggs, the former running back at Notre Dame. I watched him all last season. The guy is very, very talented. Oregon State, Omar Spates, the linebacker. This guy can play football. They picked him up. Looks fantastic. Ohio State cornerback, J.K. Johnson, he transferred in. Jordan Jefferson from West Virginia, he transferred in. Aaron Anderson, wide receiver from Alabama, he transferred in. Denver Harris, that was a big pickup out of Texas A&M. And Zy Alexander, that was a smaller team, but he had really high numbers in the transfer portal. Okay. So even though he's coming from southeastern Louisiana, he has a lot of big numbers. See, folks, it's very easy to get mixed up here. So what does this have to do with the game? Now, as I said, it's ABC Sunday night. Yeah, September the 3rd, 7:30, ABC. It's going to be a big game. Now, when you think of Florida State playing in Orlando, the first thought you probably have, if you're not really paying attention to a map, oh, this is an immediate home game for Florida State. Well, Tallahassee's not that close to Orlando. Yeah, of course it's closer than LSU, but I'm just saying I expect the LSU fans, who are a fanatical fan base, they're going to show up and they're going to bust their butt to make this as crazy as it possibly can. This will be at Camping World Stadium. Right now, LSU is a 2.5-point favorite. Are we shocked at that? I'm not. I'm not shocked at that whatsoever. I think that this game is going to come down to who doesn't turn over the ball, who doesn't make the mistake, who doesn't botch a punt, who doesn't get a punt blocked. Does the nerves get to some of these players who may even be highly acclaimed coming out of another school? And you're like, oh, no, that won't bother them because they're a big deal. And all of a sudden, they mishandle a punt. Maybe, just maybe, there's a miscommunication on a route. I really think that's what this game comes down to. Both teams has their very first game against one another. The only film that they have is from last year. Now, that's a lot of film. LSU brings a chip on their shoulder. And let me tell you right now, being a fan of an ACC team, and rightfully so, the ACC has been trash. But let me tell you, if you want to really tick off an SEC team, let an ACC team beat them. Really. Let an ACC team beat them. Notice the response when an ACC team beats an SEC team. I'm telling you straight up. I could go into a bunch of players. I could sit here and break down a bunch of who's who for both teams. So far, the injury report that was released a couple of days ago. Armani Goodwin, Josh Williams. These guys are questionable. Goodwin's listed as doubtful. Did that really change anything for you? It didn't change anything for me. It really didn't. Florida State released their starting lineup, their depth chart. Jordan Travis, Trey Benson, Toffoli, I think that's how you say his name. Johnny Wilson, Destin Hill, Winston Wright Jr., Keon Coleman. Any surprises there? No. Jaheim Bell and Kyle Morlock will split duties at tight end. Everybody knows Jared Verse is going to come in and do his thing. Fabian Lovett, Fentrell Cypress. Is there anything that shocked you there? Were you floored by that? This is an unofficial depth chart for LSU. If there's an injured player here and it's not been updated, I'm sure you will let me know. Josh Williams, he's a senior. Logan Diggs will be behind him. Of course, Jaden Daniels, he's starting. Duh. Mason Taylor. Wide receivers, Kieran Lacey. Guy's very talented. Brian Thomas. Malik Neighbors. Is there any shock there? No. And I know you're probably sitting there going, well, why are you even going over this game? Why are you even talking about it? Because, folks, I'm telling you, both of these quarterbacks has so much on their shoulders. Both quarterbacks has so much on them. So much expectation. They have the craziness of last year. I am telling you what it all comes down to in this game is whoever makes the first mistake or most mistakes. If you have a turnover by one team, you have another turnover, and it's kind of the same scenario. Maybe they even up on points. Maybe one gives up a touchdown, another one gives up a touchdown. Quite honestly, that kind of cancels itself out according to the time of game. But if one person gives up the ball and nobody else gives it up, I think that's going to be the difference. There's too many emotions in this game. There's too much emotions in this game. Yes, Parker Henderson, can't you read? Did you see that comment on my board? Did you see that on my board? See, Grafnar. Grafnar, yes, you sent me an email. I'm sorry I haven't responded yet. Motivated, dedicated, said LSU by 18. Folks, I'm going to close this down, and I know I didn't dive into just a bunch of players. I went and watched other videos before I got on here to talk about this game, and I'm going to tell you all I heard about. I just heard about a bunch of transfer guys who hasn't played together. I heard about two quarterbacks who has been at their institution now for at least one season. Jordan Travis, obviously, way longer at FSU than Daniels at LSU. And those players who were on the field, that's a big deal. Someone is going to make a mistake because there's a lot of transfer portal players on the field. And the emotions are going to be riding high. The fan bases, they can talk as much trash as they want to, but what happens on that field is between those players. And I am telling you, a game that is so early in the season. I mean, it's about as early as it gets. And you're basically the lone game in college football that anybody will care about that's on Sunday. Might be the only game in college football on Sunday. I'm pretty sure it is. There's going to be so many emotions. This is just, if you've watched football for any longer than 5 minutes, this game comes down to mistakes. Who makes the first one or who makes the least? That's what this game comes down to. And I'm going to tell you, I lean towards LSU on this one. I believe that LSU wins this game somewhere in the neighborhood of 24-21, 24-22. I think it's going to be a close game. I think that there's going to be some really good moments here. I think there's going to be a lot of fun. I think LSU wins this game 24-22, 24-21. And Florida State, the question to them is, how will you respond afterwards? Because you have to play Clemson 3 weeks after that. So LSU really, after this game, LSU really doesn't have a tough game coming up for a while. They really don't. I looked at their schedule. In fact, I don't know if Brian Kelly would probably rather have this game about 3 weeks in so he could kind of get the rust off the guys, get the guys playing together. So I'm telling you, this game has their full attention. And I just believe that LSU wins this game 24-21, somewhere in there. So, folks, thanks for joining me. If you enjoyed this video, please hit the thumbs up. I know that if you don't enjoy this video, you'll be more than happy to come on here and literally rip me a new one because that's all you have in life. I do appreciate that. Anyway, folks, you take care of yourself. I'll catch you later. I will have some more previews coming up. Florida and Utah kicks off in a couple of nights in Utah. How will that go down? Y'all take care. I'll catch you soon. And as always, go Tigers.